You know what worship is. If you're Christian, you probably do, but if you're not, worship is when you worship God and lift your hands and express your love for Him or so on, and honor. Well, when I was growing up, they would train little children to worship the leaders of the Communist Party. And if you've heard about the Red Square in Russia, you know, where the Communist Party was set in there, and they parade their rockets and their power and so on and so forth. We have the same thing in Bulgaria, except that it's a yellow special stone square, kind of like that, like a marble. And so here's the communists, and their special building, like a balcony, where they all lined up, and all the rockets go, the military power, the army, and this and that. And then thousands of children, like this, 5,000 children, just walks through and stops and turns toward the communist and says, "Glory to the communist." Use actually religious words like glory or long live or praise, you know, praise, praise, praise to the communist. And all that takes place. Looks spontaneous, looks like a spontaneous, thousands of children decide to just love the Communist Party so much to worship Him, but really they've been rehearsed at night. This happened every year in my lifetime. Before the holidays, at midnight, when the city sleeps, they force children by their parents to do that. So they rehearse them. The next day looks spontaneous, but really it's not spontaneous. So we all grow up looking at that and hating it. I mean, like worship by children of these leaders. We hate those leaders, and we can't stand this whole thing. But we're so afraid to say anything because we get killed, you know, if you do that. So it just kind of, I grew up with that as a child, playing classical violin. And then as soon as I became teenager, where I tell Mom, I says, "Mom, I'm tired of classical music. I want to play like the Beatles or like the Rolling Stones. I want to do a rock and roll, you know." And she did not like it, but at least I was into some sort of a music. So me and 3 other boys started the first rock band in Bulgaria. And we weren't any good, but you know, there was no way to prove it because there was nobody else at that time. So we practiced and we got good at what we were doing, and the communists made a mistake, put us on national television. The name of a band called Silver Bracelets. So the problem with that is there's only one channel in the whole country. You know, so if in Bulgaria in 1965, in the fall, you're stuck watching only one channel, Silver Bracelets. So we had this show on the national television. And so overnight, we became the #1 band. Well, there's no #2, but this is it. We're up in the top 10, all us, you know, all our chart, on the charts, our songs. And so the young people wanted to see us. So the television, without knowing what they did, the communist television, you know, actually made a huge advertisement for us. So now young people love to see us, and we start doing these shows, live concerts. And I'll never forget the first show in Sofia, the capital, 2,000 people, jam-packed. The communists can never believe that young people wanted so much of that music. So they just, you know, let it happen. What can they do, you know? And it was an amazing concert. I mean, to tell you, my drums was just handmade, and it was this very funky set. And they were falling apart through the whole show, you know, and I was just practically, I was so embarrassed because my cymbals will fall, because it's not a heavy-duty stand, but like one of those music stand, aluminum. I made it adapt I put a cymbal on there. But when I crashed the cymbal, boom, the whole thing falls on the ground. And then my big drum, where you play with your kick drum, it moves forward because it's like a sliding wooden floor. It just moves forward. The end of the song is like way out there, you know. And my tom-tom is like on 3 legs, and it's skinny legs, and they vibrate. Like when I hit it, doom, brrr, goes like that, and just goes everywhere, you know. So it's like my whole drum set is falling apart in front of me, and I'm embarrassed. I'm a teenager. I says, "Oh, the worst thing is happening." So I'm just pulling drums back and pulling them off the floor the whole show. It was pathetic, just terrible. I had a horrible time. But the show went wild. Everybody loved it, crazy. And I'm so embarrassed. So all my musicians, all my friends packed up their gear and they went out. I'm going the slowest because I don't want to see anybody in the back, the kids. I don't want to see and be embarrassed by what they're going to say. So I packed at the end, and there was only a few kids, and I heard them talking. Wow, did you see that drummer, man? Cool, man, he was so good. The drums were falling apart everywhere, you know, like he was the best, you know. I go, wow. I didn't realize that they liked that, you know. Kind of like The Who, you know, The Who, they broke the guitar first time by accident. And people thought that that's what he does. So every time they wanted, he's breaking guitar, you know. So this whole thing with the breaking guitar started from a pure accident, but it's kind of turned into kind of one of the attraction of the show, whatever. So in my case, it was this stupid drum set. But, you know, eventually we got better and better, and the crowds got huger, and we became like dangerous for the communists, because the communists want everything to be controlled, and they don't like young people even clapping hands during a concert. Like for them, it's like, oh, that's a revolution. We do not want that. So they invented rules like, you don't clap during the songs. During these guys playing, don't clap. Only afterwards, like a classical music a little bit, and stop. But I broke the rules once. I was clapping during the concert. I got arrested, you know. So anyways, so eventually we realized this is not going to happen, and they shut us down. And I'll tell you more about it, what happened after they shut us down officially.